was born on July 24th, 1897, at my grandparents' house in Atchison, Kansas. Girls had acted like ladies, but I did not. At age 11, I saw an airplane show. My cousins and I made a roller coaster at my grandparents' backyard. My parents thought girls and boys needed plenty of exercise to grow strong and healthy. I went to school and I was really stubborn because I did not do all the math steps. I attended 6 different high schools. Then I went to college at Philadelphia, then worked for a military aid hospital. Taking apart an engine and putting it back together was a tough job, but so fulfilling. In 1922, I got my pilot's license. Learning to fly at night took many hours. I've flown across the Atlantic Ocean by myself farther than any woman had done in history. I appeared in airplane shows and set many records such as speed and altitude, winning many honors, medals, and declarations from countries all around the world. George Putnam became my husband in 1931. I wanted to be the first pilot to circle the globe at the equator. Fred Newman was my co-pilot. I kept a diary and mailed the entries to a New York newspaper. We set off June 1st, 1937. I disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. Search planes and ships were sent out, but they could not find a trace of the plane or its crew. My brave adventurous spirit still inspires others today.
Hi, my name is Laura Ingalls-Lauder. I was born on February 7th, 1867, in Pepin, Wisconsin. When I was 3, Pa packed the family into a covered wagon to go west to the prairies. We moved a lot from Kansas to Wisconsin to Missouri. When I was 7, the family moved to a dugout house near Plum Creek, Walnut Grove, Minnesota. We farmed crops as had animals. My sister had a brain sickness. She became blind because of it. I got married to Alonzo Wilder in 1886. Alonzo got sick, our crops were ruined, and our house burned down. I had a child named Rose. She became a famous writer as well. One of my jobs helped farmers get money to plant crops. I was busy and happy. I started writing about my childhood when I was worried that no one would remember the stories Paul had told me as a younger girl. People were forgetting about the way life had been before cars and electric lights. Little House in the Big Woods was printed in 1932. I wrote 7 Little House in the Prairie books that turned into a TV series. I am famous for writing books. I died on February 10th, 1957.
Hi, my name is Harriet Tubman. I was born in 1820 in Maryland. I was born into slavery. As a young child, I get hit on the head with a metal weight while helping a slave escape. Also, I worked at the big house, cleaning and babysitting. I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers. My sisters got sold and taken away in chains. Some cold nights I covered my feet with ashes from the fire to keep them warm. One night in 1849, when I was about 29 years old, I ran away with my 2 brothers. My brothers got scared and turned back, but not me. My first trip back to Maryland, I helped my 2 sisters and their children escape from slavery. Kind people gave us food and a place to sleep along the way. The homes where I found help were a part of the Underground Railroad. I led people I didn't even know to freedom. People who owned slaves did not like what I was doing. They would offer money to anyone that could capture me. I'm famous for helping people to freedom from slavery. I died on March 10th, 1913.
Hello, my name is Lee Williams. I was born September 8th, 1954 in Tylertown, Mississippi. When I was born, my mother took me home to the farm. I lived with my father's family. In some places, black children and white children could not go to the same schools. This is called segregation. In 1960, I went to kindergarten and segregated school. By 1961, I was in first grade. My mother took me to the all-white France school. I was the first black child to go to a white school. Marshals came with us for safety. I was scared but brave. Some white people stood near school and yelled at me to go away. Norman Rockwell was an officer who painted a picture of me. Eleanor Roosevelt wrote a letter to me that told me that I was a good American. My teacher and Mrs. Henry and I were both asked to go on a TV show. As an adult, I teach my children to be kind to each other. I am married with children and still learning today at age 70.
Hello, my name is Susan B. Anthony. I was born on February 15, 1820 in Adams, Massachusetts. I lived in Adams, Massachusetts until I was 6. My family were Quakers. My sister Eliza died when she was 2 years old. Then my family moved to Battenville where my father opened a mill. My parents strongly felt that girls should be educated just as boys were. At 15, I became a teacher, then was an assistant teacher at Quakers Boarding School. Teaching was one of the only jobs open to women at the time. I started to fight for rights of enslaved African Americans. I tried to convince people that the Constitution should be changed to give all adults the rights to vote. I co-founded a new organization, the National Women's Suffrage Association. Instead of giving up, I spent my life speaking and marching in protest. Thanks to my efforts, New York State granted married women the right to own property and carry on business in their own name. I voted and got arrested. My salary came from 25 cents each people paid to hear me speak. I'm famous for trying to get women's rights to vote. I died on March 13, 1906. In 1920, after I died, women finally won the right to vote.
Hello, my name is Frederick Douglass. I was born in 1818 in the United States. I was born into slavery. When I was 6 years old, I was taken from my mother. I worked in my master's house morning till night with no pay. The master's wife taught me how to read when I was 10. Once a few other slaves and I planned to escape, but somebody told the master. I was thrown into jail. Freedom was always on my mind. I married Anna Murray and her friends helped me escape from my master. Then we moved to New York City where slavery was not allowed anymore. Freeing slaves by writing and giving speeches was my goal. Susan B. Anthony and I did speeches together. My life was dedicated to fight for equal rights for African Americans. I wrote and spoke out against violence. My fame did come from my speeches to free slaves. I died February 20th, 1895. In 1967, I became the first African American to be on a postage stamp. Hi, my name is George Herman Babe Ruth. I was born on February 6, 1895 in Baltimore, Maryland. I had one baby sister. My father owned a saloon. At 6, I stole tomatoes and skipped school. At 7, I was sent to St. Mary's Reformal School. When I was 16, I was the biggest, strongest boy in St. Mary's School. Brother Matthias taught me how to pitch. He was my mentor. I also played the bass drum. In 1914, I played for the Red Sox as the pitcher. My team won World Series 3 times. In 1919, the Red Sox switched me out to outfield. Then I arrived in New York City in 1920 and played for the Yankees. I waved to children living in reform schools and orphanages across America. The Yankees gave me a contract for $125,000. My other nickname was Sultan of SWAT. After St. Mary's School burnt down, I helped raise money to rebuild it. I pitched 488 strikeouts and hit out of the parks and home runs 714 times. I became a symbol of everything big, loud, and powerful in the 20s. I died on August 16, 1948.
Hi, my name is Noah Webster. I was born on October 6, 1758. In Hartford, Connecticut. My father was a farmer. I learned how to grow beans, corn, peas, and potatoes. Reading was so much fun. I read all the books I could get my hands on. When I was 15, I entered Yale. I taught school at the age of 19. Also, I taught singing lessons. Singing, dancing, and playing the flute was fun. I studied 20 different languages. I wrote an American school and Blueback Speller. After the Revolutionary War ended, I began to talk about the need for one strong central government, not 13 separate ones. I talked to General George Washington about this. I started a magazine and newspaper so I could tell Americans about their new government. This made me famous. I wrote the first American dictionary in ABC order. The Webster Dictionary is the most second popular book ever printed in English after the Bible. I died on May 28th, 1843.
Hello, my name is Thomas Jefferson. I was born on April 13, 1743 on a very large farm in Virginia. I went to a one-room schoolhouse. As a young boy, I learned French, Latin, and Greek. I went to college at the age of 16. Next, I became a lawyer. Then I married Martha Skelton and had 6 children, 4 of them died. After my wife died, I had children with Sally Hemings. I designed and built my home on a mountain in Virginia called Monticello. The Library of Congress holds many of my books. I invented a desk that I could carry with me and a machine to make macaroni. I was a founding father and chosen to write the Declaration of Independence. Also chosen to start the University of Virginia. I am famous for being the 3rd president of the USA. In 1803, I doubled the size of the United States of America while purchasing the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million. I died on July 4th, 1812. My picture can be found on the $2 bill.
Hello, my name is Thomas F. Edison. I was born on February 11, 1847 in Milwaukee, Ohio. As a child, I accidentally burned my father's bug down. My mother bought me a science book. My mother taught me at home because the teacher didn't think I was smart. I did science experiments in the basement. At 12 years old, I worked at a train station and then the telegraph, and eventually made the telephone better. I read Ben Franklin books. I experimented over and over again. At the end of some wires, I twisted tiny threads of cotton into a thin but strong wire. Put electricity through it, and invented the light bulb. My inventions helped to light up the whole world. Finally, in 1882, I invented a device that sent electricity to homes. Also, I invented a movie projector, a copy machine, a talking doll. I died in 1931 at 84 years old. At 10 p.m. on the night of my funeral, everyone across the U.S. turned off the lights to say goodbye to me.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Blackwell. I was born on February 3rd, 1821 in Bristol, England. As a child, blood made me queasy. I hadn't always wanted to be a doctor. I carried my brother over my head until he backed off from our fight. My family moved to the United States when I was 11. I learned from tutors who came to my house. And then I applied to one medical school after another wouldn't accept a woman. In October of 1847, I finally got accepted to Geneva Medical College. I decided to hold a free clinic to teach people how to stay clean and healthy. My dreams came true and I was the first female doctor. 1868. I opened a medical school for women. Then I helped start a national health society. It helped people focus on hygiene and disease prevention. A hospital was opened by women for women. I never married, but I did adopt a girl who was an orphan. I died on May 31st, 1910.